Today, my mom is going to teach you how they taught me how to read.
Hi, I'm April. I'm a mom of a lovely 2-year-old daughter, and today I'm going to talk about how we facilitated the development of our daughter's language skills earlier on. We recently have uploaded videos of our daughter Ciri reading 3 to 6 letter words and full sentences in books, and we received comments and questions as to how we taught our kid how to read very early on. And this video is to answer just that. By the way, if you're new to this channel, Ciri and Fam, we post content featuring our kid and our family, teaching other kids fun and valuable stuff, sharing our top parenting tips to other parents out there, or just simply sharing good vibes all your way. If you like content like this, feel free to subscribe and hit that bell button to get notified whenever we post something new. Before we get down to the actual tips, I'm going to show first the milestones that Ciri has achieved in terms of language and reading skills. Number 1, she was able to talk and accumulate over 50 words at 9 months.
Apple,
Ang apple kay gikaon sa
I,
an. Nagkuyog ang an ug ang
me,
B ug ang
wait.
Number 2, she was able to memorize the alphabet at 1 year and 6 months.
Next. Letter B. Dali. Letter B. Letter B. B. Letter B. B. Wala. Letter C. May parang letter C. Letter C. Dali. Letter C. Good job. Letter D. Letter D. Letter D. Letter E. Letter E. Yay, there you go.
Number 3, she started reading at 1 year and 9 months.
G. Ito na.
Dog,
Dog. Very good.
Number 4, she's already spelling words at 1 year and 11 months.
Dragon. Very good.
Number 5, she's reading full sentences at 2 years old and 1 month.
Her.
her mom is calling. Run to her.
Okay, very good.
Now, I'm sharing all of these not because I think toddlers have to achieve the same things at the same age. In fact, I believe that every kid has a different learning style and learning pace, and it's something that you cannot force. But what I believe in is the power of nurturing. And this video is solely for parents who want to put in efforts in supporting their child's early education and also forming good parent-child bonding. Now, I'm going to share 3 main tips on how to teach your child language and reading skills. Let's start way back when Ciri was still a baby, because tip number 1 is talk to your infant every day as much as you can. It doesn't mean you should do it like non-stop. I don't mean the extreme. What I mean is that as early as infancy, expose your newborn to language. For example, when Ciri was still a baby, I remember describing to her everything that I do in front of her. For example, when I'm changing her diaper, I would say, "Lilisan ako imong diaper ha?" By the way, I'm using Bisaya because I stuck to Bisaya when she was a baby, because that's how babies learn language best, by sticking to one language first. I actually didn't introduce English to her until she was over 1 year old, because I vividly remember that when I was trying to talk in English in front of her, I really remember she would start to cry. Maybe because she got frustrated every time she doesn't seem to understand me. So that's what I recommend. Stick to one language first until you feel like your baby is ready for another language. So that's it. Talk to your baby as much as you can, because after all, listening is the first skill that they develop, and that's how they build their vocabulary and language sense, by listening. Now let's go straight to tip number 2. Tip number 2 is buy the right toys and learning materials. I only have 3 main recommendations. Number 1 is books. Now this is pretty common, I know, but it's still worth emphasizing. I know that even if I don't tell you to buy books, you would buy books, but when Ciri was still months old, I kind of know, and we all know, that babies will just tear books, paper books apart. So I made sure to buy the hardbound ones. So every page is hardcover so that the baby won't easily tear them apart. Or you can also buy the fabric ones. So these are also good options. I was so keen to make sure that every book that I buy has different pictures of different objects. Ideally, objects that Ciri has never seen before yet, so that I can introduce new vocabulary to her and I could introduce those without relying on the screen. We didn't let Ciri get exposed to screen until she was about 1.5 years old. Introducing these pictures from various kids' books is a way to build their vocabulary and also get introduced to the world little by little. It's also our favorite bonding time. Number 2, flashcards. These are animal flashcards, and these are flashcards of different objects. So these have been very helpful in building her vocabulary. When Ciri was still 1 year old, or before turning 1 year old actually, she was already able to memorize all the animals in these flashcards. These are all worn out now, but yeah, we were so happy that they work. So these flashcards do help a lot. I'm not sure if they're reading related necessarily, but I think it's very important that the children know the terms of objects and context first before you teach them how to read. For example, if you make them read hen and they haven't seen a picture of a hen yet, then it wouldn't make sense. Number 3, letter toys or ABC toys. I'm not sure exactly what they're called, but I call them that, ABC toys or letter toys. So I think they're more effective than just those ABC on paper or surface. My sister Ate Mapi gave this real good set of ABC toys to Ciri as a Christmas gift, and Ciri quickly remembered them as compared to the ABC's charts and papers that we had. I think because you can easily manipulate them, that's why the retention is better. Just go to Lazada, Shopee, Amazon, or eBay and key in letter toys or ABC toys, and these toys would most likely pop up. Now I'm not going to list down every toy that we have, but I'm going to stop right there at those most favorite toys so that we can proceed to the final and most important tip. Tip number 3, do the right activities. I'm now going to talk about the different study and playtime activities that I think have really been helpful in helping Ciri learn how to read before turning 2. I only have 4 recommendations. Number 1, help your baby memorize the big letters. Using toys or learning materials like these, help your baby memorize them. I know that's easier said than done because every home setup and every baby is different, but that's about the first step. In our case, I noticed that Ciri has real good memory, and that is probably why she remembers things so easily, but I also know that without our guidance, she could not possibly learn everything on her own. So there's the nature-nurture components right there. But as parents, all we can ever do really is to do our best to engage and spend time with our babies. But never get pressured about anything because it's never a race and it's never a necessity to have your child learn things so early. I'm just trying to share what worked for us, just in case you're interested in incorporating learning into your playtime too. Personally, I only spend around 1 hour a day with Ciri to actually learn stuff because we're so spontaneous with our playtime, and I actually let her decide what we're gonna do for the day, but I make sure I have that 1 hour per day that I intentionally try to teach her stuff. I also am a working mom just like you, so my time with my daughter is kind of still limited, but it's not as limited because I'm just working from home, so I don't have to waste time traveling to and from work. So there's that. Again, memorizing the letters is the first step, but there's actually another approach that some moms use, and that is they don't introduce the letter names, but they introduce the letter sounds first. For example, you don't introduce this as A, but immediately ah, and B is not B, but ba. I didn't get to apply that because before I came across such idea, our Ciri already memorized the letter names, and so I didn't really test it for myself if that works. But theoretically, I think that works because that way they don't have a lot of memorizing to do and they can just go straight to blending the letter sounds. So you can do either approach, whatever you think is best for you. Help her memorize letter sounds. Again, you can go straight to introducing the sounds and not the letter names, or do what I did with Ciri. Introduce the letter names and then the sounds. Step number 3, introduce how letter sounds blend. Now, I'm no early education teacher, like I'm a teacher by profession, but I was taught how to teach high school students, so I don't really know the standard terms and approaches as to teaching toddlers and kindergarten reading. I just did what I felt like the natural thing to introduce next. And so when I felt like Ciri already memorized the letter sounds, I started teaching her how to blend those sounds. For example, k, a, t. But I didn't let her do it right away. I just kept on showing her the mechanism behind reading until one day she just got it. For me, consistency is really key. You can check the video of Ciri reading simple words right over there or down the description box below featuring these letter toys. We just really didn't stop showing her the mechanism behind reading until she got the logic. I think Ciri's dad put in as much effort or perhaps even more in facilitating Ciri's learning. And I think having your partner on board too is more effective, as of course, while you're working, your partner is there to do his part too. Number 4, make reading activities engaging. I'm only going to feature 4 main activities that we do. I call the first activity the storytelling type. I mainly use Scrabble letters in this type of activity, and I would form random words. For example, here Dora, zoo, and hat, and I would make Ciri guess or read it so she can complete the story. For example, once upon a time, can you please read this? And I would let Ciri read this. And she would want to know like who is the star of the story, so she would naturally get curious and try to blend it. So Dora, and then I would say went to the, and Ciri would then read this part, zoo, and then I would continue the story and say like to find her missing. So she would naturally be curious as to what's missing, and she would try her best to read this word, missing hat. And the next activity is called the guessing game. I would use the same Scrabble letters, and I would form words, and I would try to make Ciri guess things. For example, I would form monkey, and I would say, this is Dora's friend. So she would naturally be curious and try to read it so she can know which friend I'm talking about. And I'm not sure if it works for all kids because I think every kid is different, but for me it works for Ciri, and it triggers her curiosity, and it makes learning not only effective but fun. So number 3 is prepare custom reading materials. So all you need is a piece of paper and a pen or pencil, and write down short sentences that she can try to read. And I know there are books for this, but I prefer having the story custom made so that it will be more fun because it features Ciri and her personal stories and interests. Last activity that I want to feature is using apps, reading apps. And in this case, we're using Tummy Turtle. It's a paid app. There's a free version, but if you want like the extended version of it, you can pay it for like 100 pesos or so. And it's really worthwhile because it's very effective and it's very engaging, and it really works. We know that we mentioned that we should minimize screen time for our kids, but for me, as long as it's engaged screen time, it's okay. Engaged screen time means that you are with your kid while she's facing the screen or interacting digitally. That is very important. So you can guide him or her. You can guide him about the words, the new words that he or she encounters, and it will be a more meaningful and educational experience if you as an adult are there for your kid. As much as possible, avoid just letting your kids use smartphone all on their own. Again, engaged screen time is very important. This has been a pretty exhaustive overview of what we did, but I hope you picked up a tip or two. Again, this is not to tell you how your kids should be learning the same things. Every child and every learner has their own pace, and this sort of speed doesn't really matter a lot in their adult life. This is just in response to the questions and requests that we have received, and we're happy to share what we can. If you have questions or want us to cover certain related topics on our next videos, feel free to comment down below and we'll see what we can do. Do share and subscribe if you want similar content and more. But most importantly, if you like this video, please smash the like button down below. That really helps the YouTube algorithm feed this video to other parents out there who might be interested. That will really help us reach more moms and parents who might find this video helpful. Thank you so much, and till next time. Bye!